Good morning. You heard Monica, very optimistic. The future is before us. I'm going to give you a slightly more balanced perspective over here. But before that, all the guests over here, fellow marketeers, leaders of the emerging Indian economies, a very warm welcome over here. Braving it, coming all the way to Gurgaon. Those of you who come from other places, I know it's not easy. But yeah, if you were to really reflect about it, the marketing landscape in India, to my mind, I've seen it over a long time, and Chandan and I were just talking about it. The rate of change in the last year has been staggering. And, Peter Drucker, who was widely regarded as a management guru, especially for consulting, said the best way of forecasting the future is to create it. Well, that is really the cue for us over here for the session today, because AI is going to be a catalyst for the future, is poised to transform marketing from being an art to a science. Yeah, so on a lighter note, visualize marketing recruitment happening where we are going to the IITs instead of the IIMs. Guys, we need to wake up. It is going to be far more scientific, far more data driven, it requires a completely different set of capabilities as we think about the future. But then again, the good news, India with its tech-savvy population, the rapidly evolving landscape which we've got, incredible digital stack which India is now becoming globally famous for, it gives us an opportunity for leveraging AI for hyper-personalization, for generating mind-bending insights, and we've got an expert who will be talking to us about customer insights later in the morning. Yeah, automated campaign optimization, data-led media planning is going to fundamentally change how we connect with consumers and how we engage audiences in the future. And leading this transformation will not just require technical and scientific expertise, as I just said. That was just to provoke you a little bit, yeah. But it will require evangelism. And today, as we embark on this very rich dialogue, yeah, there are a couple of questions which I want to tee up for all of us. Yeah. The first one, I think Monica set that up very well, which is how do we harness the capability of AI in a productive manner to unlock the real power of marketing for our respective companies, our brands, and for India as a whole, as the case might be. And secondly, and this is really important for the discussion this morning, is how can we, each one of you individually, become effective evangelists and empower your teams to embrace this technology and the power it brings for us. So I stand before you today, not as a technical expert, not as an AI guru, and I can promise you I haven't used ChatGPT 4.0 to make this speech. This is me learning on the job and whatever little I've seen at the workplace. Yeah, we have some challenging questions in front of us. And through the discussions today and later on, sharing experiences, brainstorming over our coffee breaks, hopefully we can equip ourselves with some of the basic constructs which will enable us to evangelize and lead the change going forward. Yeah? So let's now just dive into, how can we be looking at unlocking the immense potential of AI in times to come. Yeah, so as I was, reflecting in the topic and I started delving a bit into it, the good news is all of us, and those of us who are relative beginners on it, I'm stating the obvious here, but AI has been around for quite a while now. I would submit at least 15-20 years of real-time AI has been working behind the scenes as we consumers, go about in the business of consuming. We know, for example, that the big platforms, the Amazons, the Flipkarts, the Mintras, the Nykas of the world, they have been generating product recommendations seamlessly behind the scenes. Yeah, they've been giving you all kinds of very relevant knowledge about the categories which you're researching online based on past purchase behavior and how we browse. And wonder of wonders is not just our own browsing behavior, but browsing behaviors of some of our close connects there on the internet. I can't resist this, so this is totally, slightly off color. This morning I was talking to my son, who works in Silicon Valley, and he goes, "Dad, the most amazing thing happened. My neighbor, who's in her late 40s, mother of a teenage daughter, she came to me in panic. He's, of course, a tech jock, saying, hey, I'm getting all kind of recommendations for pregnancy-related products." And I started diving into some of her stuff. She opened it out, and guess what? Her teenage daughter was actually pregnant. So that is the incredible power of what is happening around us. Yeah? And this is alive and kicking for a while now. Now visualize, make my trip, going over your browsing behavior, all the lovely places which you have seen on social media and Insta, what have you, and recommending a trip for your dreams. Yeah? This is close to reality. There are quite a few websites which are generating something like this. So, long story short, AI is actively looking at our preferences on our behavior online, not just on social media, but many other things. We know our emails are no longer a secret. You're emailing somebody, suddenly that person pops up as a friend recommendation. Yep, so nothing is private anymore. But the brands which are ahead of the curve, and I can tell you from my experience at L'Oreal, they've been deeply diving into online behavior to start personalizing content at scale and looking at using data for much stronger segmentation for the relevant cohorts and making marketing far more effective. Yeah, but that's what's been happening in the past. Yeah. Now we are, as Monica teed up, ChatGPT 4.0, right? I've got that right now. Okay. Now, with its ability to produce human quality content, this is a revolutionary step forward. So this is no longer behind the scenes. This is now upfront. This is the stuff which we'll be interacting with in our daily lives. Yeah, so imagine crafting personalized copies for every single region and state in India. And I'm keeping it high level, yeah? In multiple languages, targeted social media content, creating dynamic product descriptions, adapting to customer preferences at incredible scale. Literally, you'll be able to dive down on not just a language, but a dialect level. Yeah, you can dive down by demo, psycho, online browsing behavior. It's incredible the kind of options which we have. And as the day unfolds, let me not give it away, you'll be seeing real-time examples of this happening at scale. Brands like BMW, to my mind, have done a standout job of using generative AI for personalized video ads. So let me show you an example of what Volvo has done recently for marketing their Volvo S90 car, which uses a very radical approach for highlighting. Can we cue the video, Ranjana? Yeah? So this video absolutely grabbed my attention, and if you can cue that, and then I'll make a few comments.
Welcome, Oliver. Glad to see you put on your blue shirt for the interview.
Yes, indeed. You're welcome.
Are you feeling stressed?
Just a bit,
Please allow me to play some piano music to make you feel more comfortable.
I feel a bit better now, thank you.
Glad to hear that. Tell me, why should I hire you?
I've been passionate about courses, I'm a boy.
Okay, let's do a little test. Can you show me where my electric compressor is?
Sure. Here.
Perfect. Can you explain how my 360-degree camera... I think I'm going to keep you.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome.
I can't think of a more engaging way for a brand to come out and talk about technology in something which is really meaningful for us. So guess what? The future is over here. So this is real. Huh? I checked on this. These capabilities are real right now. That's what it can do. It's got cameras inside the car. It's looking at the passenger more as a safety feature. It's figuring out if a person nodding off or the eyes are wandering off the highway. That's the purpose of the camera. But guess what? It can be adapted to do many other things. So it's so appealing to consumers who are looking for a car that is not just safe. We know Volvo epitomizes safety, but is, you know, the most technologically advanced vehicle. And none of the gobbledygook, none of the features, advantage, benefits is something which deeply connects with us. Yeah. But while this is the good news, and now let me strike a slightly different note from what you heard from Monica. AI does give you a set of massive challenges. I was privileged enough to listen to Sam Altman last December when he came and addressed a gathering here in Delhi, in fact. And let me tell you, 2/3 of his talk, around 45 minutes, was around the concerns and the pitfalls around AI. So I think it is very important for us as a knowledgeable audience to start looking at not just what AI can do for us, but what do we want to make sure that it continues to do in line with what we want it to do and not what it wants to do itself. As we know, it's got a mind of its own. Yeah. So let's take an example of Barbie. We know Barbie was an aging brand. Yeah, it was frequently criticized because of its idea of beauty. This brilliant blonde with an hourglass figure, and you know, there was a big public consumer outcry saying, hey, this is perpetuating a very, very wrong sense of beauty to our children. An average first consumer Barbie is 4 years old. You don't want that child to get under the pressure of the kind of values which Barbie was epitomizing. And this was really changed in 2023 by a Barbie live-action adaptation directed by Greta Gerwig. It did more than dust off a very, very pink brand. We know the famous Barbie movie. It challenged those notions, showcasing a diverse set of characters and embraced a lot of diversity over there. Yeah? But then, you know, the inevitable question, if we can cue a video, what does this have to do with artificial intelligence? Reflect on the images, very important. I think we get the picture, right? So the ultimate racial and ethical stereotyping possible. So in effect, what AI did was that these images have perpetuated the very stereotypes which the movie tried their best to disassemble. So it actually worked against the entire brand campaign of Barbie. And recently, you must have heard, there were a couple of other scandals in the area where, you know, there were a bunch of highly objectionable images which were teed off by a new Google program, which led to them apologizing actually to the public at large. Yeah. So I think this is a very, very powerful reminder for all of us in terms of what is the kind of leadership which we need to give. Yeah. Just like the movie challenged traditional notions of Barbie, now we need to challenge the biases of artificial intelligence going forward. So training the AI model is going to be a very, very critical feature of how we are going to go about getting the right messaging for our brands and building trust with the consumers. So yeah, there you are. If you, for a moment, take a step back, AI, most of it, unbelievably good news. It's a toolbox for crafting personalization at massive scale, at whatever level you want it to, analyzing data, unparalleled depth, giving you insights which we never thought were imaginable, Yeah, Chandan and I were just talking about the fact that the current constructs of insight and research are almost going to be rendered redundant. And it's incredible the rate of change which is going to happen. Yeah, automating tasks at fantastic scale. However, all this can only happen if we have a truly well thought through sustainable marketing strategy. Yeah, and rather than give you a bunch of conceptual gobbledygook, I will give you 3 or 4 examples of what I mean by building a sustainable marketing strategy, which hopefully is going to be then really populated and brought to life by some of the examples which you're going to see later in the morning and the day. Yeah. So first, we talked about personalization. All of us have seen personalization at scale, yeah, which now we know as marketeers, all of us have been guilty of creating massive amounts of marketing collateral, media, and as a famous person once said, half of the money and effort on marketing is a waste. The problem is nobody knows which half. Yeah. So now with AI, we have this incredible opportunity of building a far more sustainable model and minimizing that waste. Yeah, both physical waste as well as media wastage. And to my mind, Zalando, which is a European fashion giant, does it brilliantly. They create personalized product descriptions for millions of products on their platform, and it leverages generative AI for highly personalized content like product descriptions, social media posts, targeted email campaigns, which are totally targeted at whatever is the browsing behavior and the profile of the consumers. It's supposed to be one of the best practices. Check it out online, and it really works. The other piece, again, to my mind, one of the best proven use cases for the use of artificial intelligence is data-driven marketing. Yeah, we know that in the past, a lot of us, especially those who believed as marketing as an art kind of a camp, we have relied a lot on intuition and past trends. And where, somebody famously said, looking at past trends and making your strategies for the future is like driving looking into a rear view mirror. Yeah, I'm stating the obvious over here. But now, I can't help but give you an example from L'Oreal, which utilizes Gen AI to analyze social media and reviews of customers on multiplicity of platform and understand their preferences and very importantly predict trends. So to give you a real time example, a couple of years back, we had 2 major luxury beauty brands, Kiehl's and Lancome, and both of them were almost simultaneously launched within a year of each other. And the trick was to make sure that they don't compete with each other, and that is where AI came in. Their ability to slice and dice consumer behavior. Those consumers who prefer natural beauty, which is not loaded with chemicals, yeah, much closer to pharmacology, they went to one brand. And those people who are driven by the brand, the aspiration, the content, Julia Roberts, and all those icons, they were taken to another area. And it was incredible the kind of reduction of media wastage which happened when they started prototyping that, with the example of some really good partners which we had. The third theme which I want to strike is around transparency and ethical use of artificial intelligence. And that is the note of warming. Yeah, we are going to build it together. There are no guidelines, there are no rules. Yeah, there's this, huge lobby, one lobby which Altman teed up saying the governments have to get involved and build the guardrails for protecting consumers. And there's us in the industry. And there's an active dialogue happening between the industry and the government about not, over-regulating this aspect. I think Body Shop, for example, is a great epitome of what responsible use of artificial intelligence is. If you go onto Body Shop's online assets, they proudly proclaim that they're using artificial intelligence, which is looking at our online browsing behavior to generate a lot of their content recommendations. And they give you an opportunity to opt in or opt out of that. That is a very good example of ethical use of artificial intelligence. Put it out there. Monica just gave us the federal bank example, yeah, which was images conceived by humans but generated by artificial intelligence. Very, very important. Which brings me to one more interesting example, which is the power of collaboration for storytelling around sustainability. We know that sustainability is critical for the future of this planet, for our kids, but guess what? Creating engaging content for consumers is a big challenge. Apart from scaring them, to death about climate change and 1.5 degrees global warming, etc. What's an engaging way of doing it? So Patagonia, whom we know, is this iconic outdoor brand. They did a brilliant job of collaborating with an artificial intelligence setup for creating engaging messaging, which was a lot of it which was actually consumer generated. So again, the consumer saw their thoughts, their emotions, their feelings being generated in the campaign over there. And there are any number of examples which are now beginning to happen at a faster rate in this. Yeah. So, let's try and bring this together. I think even though these are relevant examples, it is very important for us to at least leave the session with a couple of critical takeaways in terms of what we can be doing as marketing leaders with artificial intelligence. The first and the foremost is investment and return on investment. Yeah? All of us know that artificial intelligence is very, very expensive. The hardware costs associated with AI, especially the GPUs, yeah, leasing them out is incredibly costly. Yeah, it's not for nothing that NVIDIA, and I think Rahul is going to show us a graphic, it's his favorite graphic, about how NVIDIA took off. Yeah, guess why? Because they pretty much have the master franchise on hardware and chips for powering artificial intelligence. Very, very expensive. The transactions on AI, yeah, the use of tokens, literally it's a pay as you use. This is really expensive stuff. And a lot of us marketeers, we are very distant from all this. Maybe a couple of you disagree with me and I would welcome that. But usually it's IT's problem, finance's problem, wo piche background mein kuch ho raha hai kind of a thing. Guess what? It is critical for us as marketeers to put down a dashboard of very, very relevant KPIs, which at any point of time are giving us the reality fix whether the artificial intelligence which we are spending, the kind of resources which we do, are giving us the right efficiency, efficacy, which these use cases were supposed to give. So there's a big watch out over here. It is not an unbridled runaway blessing. It comes with a huge cost, and you as leaders have to build the muscle for intelligently forecasting the return on investment on artificial intelligence. The other piece is appropriateness of data. Yeah, we talked about the bias. The Barbie example brought it out, and there'll be any number of examples which are going to really create a serious problem of brands in terms of losing trust with consumers if we don't watch out. Yeah, so making sure that the data which we are training our artificial intelligence models on is inclusive, it's unbiased, it's diverse, is going to be critical. And if I were to look at a real-time example which all of us can relate to, look at Netflix and how they personalize the content recommendation, and they're constantly monitoring us, our viewing behavior online, to give us engaging content. Yeah, so if you want to know what your kid at home has been watching, is very easy. Just dial into their profile and look at the recommendations which Netflix is dialing up to our kids. And that is a dead giveaway of what is a very, very well put through content recommendation engine. And finally, stating the obvious, but I can't emphasize it enough, which is data security and compliance. So this is the boring bit. Yeah. So people wake up, I know I'm about to lose you, but I might be telling you something which is most important in all this. And this is not just about GDPR and the ongoing data privacy laws which the Indian government is threatening to enact hopefully in the session after the elections this time. Yeah, this is really about core ethics. It's about training your models, training your people, about deeply protecting the data of our consumers. Yeah, and the second piece which is critical, which is alien to us in India, but is second nature for most people in the West, which is consumer consent. It barely crosses our mind these days, but there are some best practices. Yep, I know some Indian brands are beginning to do it. I think H&M is a best practice, where they actively inform consumers that their browsing behavior is being used to drive their recommendation engine. And very importantly, not only do they have consent, they can opt in or opt out. So some of us forward-looking marketeers have put it out there on our online assets, and the rest of us, we have to be very, very alive to the threat which this poses and be out there. The Data Privacy Act has a few draconian measures. I can tell you that I was negotiating on the behalf of the industry on that, and there are some areas which you'll have to be very, very careful about. So there we are. Artificial intelligence, it's a mixed blessing, has to be handled with great care. It's a baby which has immense potential, but also has great potential to cause harm as it can do good. It's unparalleled, and it will be driven by the quality of our inquiries if we have to foster the trust behind our brands. Yeah. And the good news is, today, your attendance over here, I can promise you, is a great investment of your time, because MMA has a very special launch later today. They'll be releasing a white paper on driving Gen AI discovery and adoption. I've personally been over the paper. It's equally relevant to the experts as well as the neophytes like me. It pretty much boils down generative AI to the 10 frequently asked questions and what you can do with them. Yeah. So there's a lot of good content which is going to be coming out, and MMA has also taken this opportunity of creating a serious resource bank which you can access. If you cue the QR code over there, take an opportunity of dialing into some really useful content. It is being made simple, very digestible, and to my mind, something which you can take back to your teams and put it to work. So in summary, all I can leave you with is this is really exciting, very alluring. It's something which all of us want to roll up our sleeves and dive deep into it. But as leaders, all of us have to look at the real value of artificial intelligence in our ability to democratize it, to make sure it's diverse, it is inclusive, and it has got use cases which create long-term sustainable value for whichever organization which we are a part of. So I can't help but close with Spider-Man's little line: with great authority and great power comes a lot of responsibility, and that's what we are all here to make sure that we do. Thank you.